Yo, everyone out there, it's your boy Anthony Nathaniel. I'm right here at Ibadan, Nigeria, taking you philosophy at the philosophy zone. Basically, this is the third video I've been posting on philosophy so far, and what we're doing now today is just a proper introduction into the idea of philosophy, and I think I've given you guys a proper introduction basically. So, what we're doing now will start from the introduction into the backgrounds of philosophy. I talked about Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle last time. Talked about these are just the history of philosophy, and now we're talking about what is philosophy today. Now, philosophy is something that is not really, it's not really understandable because it's kind of like a technical field. People see it as technical field, and even to the philosophers themselves, yeah, they feel like anybody who attempts to define philosophy or try to associate with philosophy needs to have some academic, some intuitive, and some deep learning attached. But contrary to that, I think everyone is basically a philosopher. Is basically a philosopher. One is that as long as you can reason. Philosophy is just the science of reasoning, and reasoning is the science of wisdom, and philosophy is study of wisdom. So that means once you can reason, you are basically a philosopher. Yeah, that's what you call theory. Yeah, so basically, philosophy is not as difficult as it's not like rocket science as we see it. Most of us we get to think of philosophy as something that it's abstract, vague, and unapplicable. But philosophy is something that you think of it every day. You make decisions every day. Your principles. Philosophy is principles, knowledge, belief, and opinion. Philosophy is way closer to us than we think. Just as God is way closer to us than we think. So, what is philosophy? Some early in the development of philosophy as a field, those early people in the pre-Socratic, Socratic, medieval, and Renaissance era, most of them they held different beliefs and they classified themselves into school of thoughts. Some thought philosophy was based on the senses, that what you can feel with your sense is what philosophy is about. Some thought philosophy is all about faith, what God reveals to you, and in the first instances, philosophy was still maturing from religion. So the early philosophers in the medieval ages, they were those who were tied to religious or their religious leaders who used philosophy to explain and propound their religious beliefs. So it was easier for them to make people understand because philosophy is like the science of reason, and in life and this, and once you can make people reason, you can give people reason. Like if I come over now and say, okay, buy this thing, you'll be like, why? So that's why it's like a reason. So philosophy gave those people in the early days the leverage to be able to explain, to be able to give themselves to give their point some cogency, some credence. Yes, so they were able to be believed by those. But then as time went on, philosophy became kind of mix up basically. Engineering was probably only civil in the early days. But then now there are more than like there are as many engineering fields as there are stars in the sky. So that's the same thing with philosophy. In the early days, philosophy was just one, but as people began to think and reason and propound, philosophy became just numerous. So basically, philosophy. Back to what's philosophy? Well, philosophy is as simple as anything that involves you using your reasoning capacity. That's just my definition of philosophy. It just applies to the reason, man's ability to think things out, think, reason, and that reason is analytic. It is kind of like it is inquisitive. It's a field that kind of detaches your emotions from reality. So most of us, if once you get tied a lot to your emotions, you can't be a philosopher. So once again, to recap, philosophy is the science of reason and thinking, and many people in the early days they had different views of philosophy, and some use philosophy to explain their religious beliefs. But philosophy is not abstract. Thank you.